Hello, gorgeous. I am back today, and today I wanted to take a moment and celebrate with you this huge milestone that we have now reached on the Universe Guru channel, which is 100,000 subscribers. I can't tell you for how long I have held this desire in my heart, and up until this point, if someone were to ask me, hey Mina, is there something that you really desired and didn't manifest? My answer would have been yes, there is this one thing that hasn't manifested yet, and that is to have 100,000 subscribers. I never even wanted more than that. Like, literally, that was the desire. I wanted 100,000 amazing conscious people on this YouTube channel. Like, that just felt like a good community number for me. Like, it's intimate and small enough, yet it just feels really vast. And so we have now reached this number. So my boys, really my sons, wanted me to celebrate, and they've been thinking about all of these ideas. And I think the ideas they're coming up with, they've probably seen are like young male creators YouTube channels, and a lot of them just didn't resonate with me. So I did put this question into the field. I said, hey, God, what's the best way? Hey, God, hi, what's the best way to celebrate this huge milestone? And I did receive the answer earlier today. And I swear I've been trying to film this video since this morning, but we had like the window washers here, and then the housekeeper was here. Then we were getting new furniture delivered. So anyways, now I'm filming it. Here's what I came up with. My desire is to do this 3-part manifesting series, completely free. It's like a mini course for you guys as my celebration for 100,000. And I think this is going to be really amazing because I feel like my success in my life and my business has come from teaching other people how to manifest. Because if you can teach other people how to manifest, like, they're always going to have money to invest in themselves, which means money for my business, right? So it like all works out. It's like this beautiful divine union. So to go back to my roots and the thing that started it all, I am going to teach you how to manifest. So this is training number 1. Now, I don't like YouTube as a platform for courses because videos get lost, and sometimes YouTube will promote one part and not promote the other ones. But what I'll do is, first of all, I'll email out each part to my email community. If you're not in it, you need to sign up. Link is in the description box. And on the main YouTube page, I will create like a playlist so that you can see all of the 3 parts in there, okay? So here's the names for the 3 parts of this mini course. Part number 1 is going to be called Decode and Decide. Part 1, Decode and Decide. Part 2 is Manifest. And part 3 is Normalize. Okay, so those are going to be the 3 parts. This is part 1. So in part 1, we're talking about decoding your desires and then deciding that you get to have it. And I like to make manifesting really, really easy. And I manifest with God, and that's the reason that it's so easy, because it's so aligned with my soul's energetic blueprint. So here's the first thing that you need to know. If you are not decoding your desires, meaning you can't even hear your desires because of all of the conditioning that you have been through since childhood, culture, religion, society, all of the things telling you you can't have this, it's shameful to have this is too much, you're not capable of this, all of that stuff, it actually kind of muffles the sound or the knowing of your desire. So the first thing we must do is decode the desire. So where do desires come from? So let's backtrack and talk a little bit about that. So in its original form, when we were split off from God, meaning there's one source, there's one higher level consciousness, and then God seeks to experience itself through itself, and we split off into little bits and pieces of consciousness. So a soul without any content, without any information, is that original like consciousness. There's like no content in it. It's just like pure just love and source energy. Okay, then as it goes through its various lifetimes, lifetime number 1, lifetime 2, 3, 4, it's learning things, it's seeing things, it's basically consuming content, the content of life. And the more content it consumes, the soul starts to form a energetic blueprint. It has things that maybe it couldn't do in previous lifetimes that it wants to do in this lifetime, or it has karmas that it has experienced that it wants to resolve. So over time, as the soul goes on, these energetic blueprint forms, and then we are born in future lifetimes with this innate desire. Like if you ever have listened to any interviews or read any like biographies by like really famous people, meaning like the most amazing pianist or a basketball player or a songwriter, you'll start to notice a pattern, right? When they ask them, how did you know this is what you were supposed to do? And they'll say, I just knew, right? Or you listen to people's interviews and they'll say, well, I started doing this when I was 2, or I started playing the piano when I was 4. How did they know, right? Like, how did they know that that's the thing that they came to play out on this planet, to perform in this planet? How did they know that that was their dharma? Like, how did they know that was the thing they were supposed to do? Now, the interesting thing with desires is that the life that I have now is exactly the life that I was born to have. Like if you look at my Akashic reading, my numerology, my human design, like all of it says that this is exactly what I was meant to do. But I didn't know this. But all I had to do was follow each GPS guidance, also known as desire. And as I followed each desire, like it was like a Easter egg hunt. Okay, you unlock one and then you go to another one and then the other one and then the other one. And as I did that treasure hunt, I came to do exactly the thing that God has designed for me to do, like my life here, right? My energetic blueprint, the thing that I really crave to do. So this is where your desires come in. With most women right now, I see a very injured intuition. If you are not listening to your intuition, oftentimes you miss those internal nudgings, those divine downloads that tell you what you're supposed to be doing. Like when I got the internal nudge to apply to Northwestern University and don't even apply for a plan B, I had to listen to that. Now, if my intuition was severely injured, I wouldn't have heard that, and maybe I would have applied to 4 or 5 different universities and ended up in some other program. But this is the exact one that I was supposed to go to. So I didn't even apply anywhere else because I just knew that just apply here. That's the internal nudging, right? When I got the nudge to start a YouTube channel, I didn't know why I was starting it. The desire was there. In fact, a lot of people thought I was crazy. Like I had so many people literally like saying, everyone's making fun of you. Like, why are you making these videos? Because I just have to. I must. It's my desire. So if your intuition is injured, we have to heal that first, because you're not going to be able to know what your desires are. Like I just can't believe how many women just don't even know what they desire. They've just lost their path. That's like, it's like cutting off communication from the mothership. Like it's scary to me. Like I would not want. That's like going off into space and then like you can't hear the instructions back from Earth. Like how scary does that sound, right? Well, that's kind of like how it is, because a part of you is still in the metaphysical field and a part of you is here in this human experience. And if you can't hear the other part, if your intuition is injured, that sounds like a pretty suffering way to spend life. I mean, there are easier ways if you were just listening to the instructions, okay? So let's talk about what are some signs that your intuition is injured. And I know that this is supposed to be a course on manifesting. Trust me, in order to manifest, you need your intuition. So we're starting from the beginning, but this is necessary. Okay? Here's one way to know if your intuition is injured. You have sort of this indecisiveness around a lot of things, even simple things. I remember when I was going through sort of like this stage of injured intuition, I would like sit at the restaurant, like mulling over the menu and not be like, it's like, just pick something. Like, what is the consequence of you getting the wrong dish, right? Like, you're not gonna die. But it seemed like this big decision that I had to make and I couldn't get wrong. So if you have indecisiveness around small or big things, that is a sign that your intuition might be injured, okay? Another sign is analysis paralysis. If you analyze everything, if you have to absolutely have all of the facts and all of the ducks in the row, you are trying to overcompensate for the fact that you can't hear the other part of you. You can't hear the part of you that's in the metaphysical. Okay, so because you can't hear that, you're like extra cautious, so you fall into analysis paralysis. Third is, let me actually number these so it's easier for me. The third one is that you have this need to consult so many different people before making a decision. Maybe it's your partner, maybe it's your mother, maybe it's your sister, your girlfriend. Maybe you post it on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. Like, you need validation that you are making the right decision before you allow yourself to just own the decision that you've made. If this is you, let me know in the comments if you suffer from 1, 2, 3. If you have all 3 of these, you definitely have an injured intuition and you're probably struggling to manifest the things that you want. Now, everyone's a manifestor. We're all always manifesting, obviously. But we're talking about intentional manifesting versus just like manifesting like random things on autopilot that you may or may not want. And it feels like you're just kind of like strolling through life versus like really being intentional and creating the type of life and lifestyle that you want, okay? So here is your homework if you are injured in your intuition. By the way, just to show everyone that we are not the only one experiencing this, because I know so many women suffer from this, put in the chat how many of those 3 symptoms you have and if you have an injured intuition, okay? So if you are identified as a basic babe and self-aware Barbie, you have some form of injured intuition. Okay, because within the $1 million babe phase, we are starting to heal this or have completely healed this, and we are making very much intuitive, soul-based. That's what I say, soul decisions, heart decisions. That means that me, the physical, and me, the metaphysical, are on the same team. Like, we can hear each other. And of course, your metaphysical is always on your team. You just can't hear them because you're in fight or flight, you're numb, your intuition is injured. So they're always on your team, but it's just how good is the communication channel, okay? So that's what we're trying to reestablish. So here is your homework. Here's the statement that I want you to say all this week and maybe for the rest of your life. If every decision was the right decision, what would I choose? And after you say this, I'll repeat that. If every decision was the right decision, what would I choose? And if you can put that in the chat so everyone can read it. Some people are like very visual and they need to see that written out. So if every decision was the right decision, what decision would you make? And then going with that first gut feel. Now, I know that it's easier said than done because I know that internal gut feel right away, but a lot of people don't because, again, they do have that injured intuition. So what I want you to practice doing this week is saying that statement and then making the first decision that comes to your mind between the 2 choices, 3 choices, whatever, and then completely having faith that that is the right decision, okay? So choosing the first one that comes to your mind and trusting, having faith that that's the right one. Now, since I use these words, let me actually step back and define these 2 words for you. I often get asked, what is the difference between faith and trust? And this is a very interesting concept or question because it actually bridges that gap between everything I teach, which is science and spirituality, like the divine union between the 2, right? So faith is a core belief. It's a value. And that comes from your spiritual knowing and your connection to your higher power, to God, right? So faith is a core belief. Once you have it, you have it. It's no one can take it away from you. Like, it is your belief. Like, one of my top core beliefs is faith in God. Like, I know that all hell could break loose, but like, God's got me, right? Like, everything on this earthly plane may appear to be in chaos or whatever, but God's got me. Like, that's my faith. That's unshakable because it's a core belief of mine, okay? Trust is a moment-to-moment thing, especially for women. So our DNA, the way we have evolved and the way that we're programmed, trust is something that's more moment-to-moment, unless we're like super conscious and can tap into that masculine part that sees trust a little bit differently. But as a woman, as the average woman, it's going to be a moment-to-moment thing. If you think about it from evolution, from an evolutionary perspective, it doesn't matter if he's been hunting for me and providing for my family for 10 years. If he seems really shady right now, or if he hasn't been able to provide recently, I can't trust him. Trusting him would be too costly, because if I trust him in that scenario where he's not really showing up trustworthy, then that could be dangerous, and I could lose my children, I could lose my own security. Like, do you see how we evolve to like, can I trust you in this moment? Now men, they're different. For a man, if you showed up for him 10 years in a row, even if you're acting shady right now, he's gonna take the whole picture into account. This is why you'll often hear men hanging out with friends that have like gone rogue or just weird or whatever, and they're like, well, we've been friends since high school. Like, the masculine energy part of us has that tendency to look at the big picture for trust, but the feminine part of us says, well, are you showing trust? Like, are you trustworthy right now? When we have a injured intuition, we lose connection to both. We lose connection to faith, and we lose connection to trust. So even if someone is showing up trustworthy, we may not still be able to trust them. So our intuition is really a potent gateway to a lot of these metaphysical and physical concepts. Like, you have to almost look at that as a bridge between the two worlds that we inhabit, the metaphysical and the physical. So this is going to be your homework for this week, and I'm going to put part 2 and part 3 in here on this channel as well. I don't have dates yet. I've got so much like travel and different things coming up, but I will try to film it as soon as I can and put that in there. Now, if you would like more manifesting help from me, I have 3 different things that I want to mention. One, in less than 12 days, we have the Millionaires Miami Intensive happening on March 1st and 2nd. There's only 12 days left now, and actually the card is probably going to close a lot sooner than that, because I have to either it sells out or the head count date shows up. So we have 31 women that have signed up right now. We do have spots for more. There's a certain number that the room holds that I have booked. So if you are still interested, consider this your last call. The link is in the description box, okay? The second thing I want to mention is, for newbies to manifesting, I highly recommend my manifesting for my $1 Million Babes manifesting. It's a little, not a little, it's like a 12 workshop course filmed over a whole year with really, really potent, never before seen information about manifesting. It's really, really deep. There's 12 workshops in there. So it's called $1 Million Manifesting Babes, and I will link it in the description box. And in honor of celebrating the 100K and doing this new series, I'm actually going to take $100 off of it. So it's going to be discounted for you guys. The link is in the description box. I'll put a timer up, so when the timer runs off, then you know that the price has gone back up. The third thing I want to mention is my highest level manifestation course is my Manifest with God course. And it is the most potent, deep thing that I've ever taught. It's fully channeled. I had really unlocked like the highest level of my channeling abilities for that course. And it is my most prized course that I have ever taught. So if you want the deep metaphysical stuff, like the really deep stuff, the metaphysics, you definitely need the Manifest course. And I have linked it in the description box for you. I'll also pin it to the first comment. So let me know if you have a injured intuition and if you are going to be doing this inner work to heal your intuition. One more thing I want to say, I just realized I had some more things to say about this, so hopefully you're still with me. So the first part of this training was called Decode and Decide. So once you decode what your desire is, like once you know, oh, okay, I can listen to my intuition and this is what I desire, the second part is to decide. So in the ultimate level, like think about Million Dollar Babe and High End Divinity. This process becomes really easy. You decode and decide, meaning you listen for your desire, you decide that you get to have it, and 2, you manifest, 3, you normalize. Like that's just rinse and repeat. It's really, really easy. For the basic babes and self-aware Barbie, the reason it becomes difficult is when we get to the basic babes will be stuck at the decode part, right? Like they don't even know what they desire, okay? Then the second part is once you even know what you desire, all of these limiting beliefs will flood up. And that's why in my Basic Babe bundle, I give you that 6-step process to literally work through all of the limiting beliefs. Because let's say you decode your desire and you're like, ooh, I really want this. And then you decide that you get to have it. Well, you haven't decided because the metaphysical part of you has decided, but this part is like, well, no, I can't have it because of the country that I live in, the culture, the religion, because of my parents, because of my age. So in order to manifest, I'm giving you a hint from training number 2, the metaphysical part of you and the physical part of you needs to be in agreement. Like it needs to be in alignment. Like it needs to be on the freaking same team. One can't be going right and the other one's going left. It all needs to be like you and you need to be on the same page. So just because you decoded the desire doesn't mean the job is done. The second part of it is deciding that you get to have it. And that's when you literally align with that metaphysical part of you. That means all of your human limiting beliefs, all of the BS that you have told yourself your entire life, or maybe you haven't said it, like you haven't even allowed yourself to desire what you desire. You haven't even made it that far, right? It's all there, and that's the stuff that makes you not really want it. So when people say, well, do you really even want it? It's because the metaphysical wants it, but you don't want it. There's a part of you that's not aligned. There's a part of you that thinks, but if I have this, then something bad will happen. If I have this, then my mom will be mad. You see how you're not really agreeing that you get to have it. So this is why the first training is decode and decide. So to give you a little bit, I don't want to throw too much homework at you, especially for the first training, but in order to decide, if you have the Basic Babe bundle, I would definitely go through that 6-step process. But to really simplify that for you guys that maybe don't have that, you're basically going to let all of the limiting beliefs come up and you're going to have to change your core beliefs around them. Without changing your core beliefs, you're not going to be able to manifest. The manifestation will be there in the non-physical because the metaphysical part of you agrees and wants it and has no limiting beliefs. But it won't be able to come into this earthly plane. Like it will always just be there somewhere in the heavens, in the vortex, right? As we've all heard, but you're not going to be able to bring it here. There is a bridging the gap process, which I shared with you extensively in the Manifest course, where you can literally see it there and then bring it here and manifest it here. So I don't want to overwhelm you with the first training. I'll be back for training number 2. Let me know if you enjoyed this. Give this video a thumbs up. Share it with those in your life that are interested in manifestation. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.